Donald Trump held what could very well be his largest rally to date in southern New Jersey. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time to talk about the 2024 presidential election because everyone, Donald Trump just held what could very well be his largest rally to date in southern New Jersey. Yeah, that's right. We're not talking about a crowd of a couple thousand, not just 10,000, no. It appears that by most estimates, there were upwards of 100,000 people at this rally. Yeah, 100,000 for a political rally in southern New Jersey. You know, a Democrat state. Just think about how incredible that is. 100,000 people. Again, that's according to local officials. That's like the higher end of the estimates. But even if it's 80,000, that many people showed up to a political rally for Donald Trump. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, let us get into it. Sandwiched between his appearances in court, Donald Trump headed on Saturday to the Jersey Shore, where he repeatedly blamed President Biden for the criminal charges he's facing as the presumptive nominees prepare to face off in the November election, and called this New York hush money case a Biden show trial. And he's not wrong. I mean, that case might be the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. When you have a bunch of partisan Democrats and people that hate Trump, when they're admitting that this case is baloney. This is insane that this case should be thrown out. Blasting the Democratic president a total moron, Trump, before a crowd of tens of thousands, repeatedly characterized the case against him as politically motivated and timed to harm his ability to campaign. And he's not wrong. They knew about this for years. These supposed scandals, these legal problems for Trump. They could have dealt with this 4 or 5 years ago. But they waited until 2024, right when the campaign is starting to really go into high gear, to bring these cases. What does that tell you? You're telling me this wasn't a serious problem for 4 to 5 years, or even longer in some of these cases, but now you have to bring it right in the middle of an election year? Really? Why do people think that this is just a complete coincidence? It's not. They're bringing these cases against Trump to keep him in court so he can't campaign. He's a fool. He's not a smart man, Trump said of Biden. I talk about it differently now because now the gloves are off. Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, drew what his team called a mega crowd on a Saturday evening rally in the southern New Jersey resort town of Wildwood, 150 miles south of the New York City courthouse, where he has been forced to spend most weekdays sitting silently through his felony hush money trial. Lisa Fagan, a spokesperson for the city of Wildwood, told the Associated Press that she estimated a crowd of between 80,000 and 100,000 attendees, based off her own observations of the scene on Saturday, having seen dozens of other events in the same space. 80 to 100,000 people. Now, like this article says, like the officials from the city say, there were other events going on. Yes, it's true. But even then, you can tell. There were tens of thousands of people there for Trump. This was probably his biggest rally ever. You could tell by every picture, by every video, this wasn't just, 5 people, at a Biden rally. No, these are tens of thousands of people in New Jersey. One of the most democratic states in America. Yeah, Trump brought what could very well be one of the largest political rallies in American history in southern New Jersey. Trump was joined on stage by several high-level endorsers, including North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum and NFL Hall of Fame linebacker Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor endorsed Trump. Now, one of the greatest defensive players in NFL history, yeah. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that 100 million people are going to vote for Trump because of Lawrence Taylor. No one should expect that. Hell, I doubt that you're going to see many people, if any, switch their vote to Trump because Lawrence Taylor said so. But it's fascinating because Lawrence Taylor on the stage said, I was a lifelong Democrat. My family were Democrats. We voted Democrat forever. But we are never going to vote Democrat again. And it sounds like this is the first time that his family are going to vote for a Republican. Now, this doesn't mean that Brexit is really happening and you're going to see a bunch of people flip their votes because of Lawrence Taylor, but I think what Lawrence Taylor said at the rally encapsulates a massive problem that Biden and the Democrat Party could be facing this cycle. Like, Lawrence Taylor, he went on the stage, he said, I was a Democrat, my family were Democrats, I'm voting Republican. We have been hearing the same thing from hundreds, if not thousands of voters in deep blue areas like Chicago, like New York City, Detroit, Milwaukee, LA, etc., where a bunch of voters are saying the exact same thing as Lawrence Taylor, where they grew up as Democrats, their parents were Democrats, their grandparents were Democrats, everyone was a Democrat, all right? They voted Democrat their entire lives, but in 2024, for the first time in their lives, they're going to vote Republican. They're going to vote for Trump. And Lawrence Taylor is just a big name example of that happening. There are plenty of people we have on video saying the same thing. So while I don't think Brexit is real, I do think it's significant that you get a big name like Lawrence Taylor telling the world that I'm voting Republican for the first time ever. Now, you also had Doug Burgum at the rally, and I would say Trump gave us the best hint at who's going to be his VP. He basically told Doug Burgum to get ready for something. Now, could that mean he's going to pick him for energy secretary or something? Maybe, I guess. But I think Trump gave us the best hint as to who is potentially going to be his VP this year. And I'm starting to really think it's going to be Doug Burgum of North Dakota. Now, there's been some criticisms against the guy, but I'll say this. Of some of the options Trump could choose from, Doug Burgum is not the worst. I think he's a decent choice. But I find it fascinating that you see Doug Burgum in New Jersey. Like, why would Doug Burgum be campaigning with Trump in New Jersey? If this was like Wisconsin or Minnesota, that's one thing. It's right next to North Dakota, fine. But New Jersey? The Beach Run Gathering, described by Representative Jeff Van Drew as the largest political gathering in state history, was designed to serve as a show of force at a critical moment for Trump, who was facing dozens of felony charges and 4 separate criminal cases with the election less than 6 months away. I would say it's not just the biggest in New Jersey history. That was possibly, I'm not saying 100% it was, that was possibly one of the largest political rallies in American history, in any state. Because when was the last time you had a political rally like that, where 100,000 people showed up? At most, again, it could be a little bit less, it could be a bit more, but it is clear that this was one of his biggest rallies ever. This was not just, a couple thousand people. There were tens of thousands of people, which should scare Democrats that this is in New Jersey. Now, an argument could be made that this was a busy area, there are other events going on. I understand that. But this is New Jersey. This isn't, a deep red state. This isn't like, Florida. This is New Jersey. And again, I know you got New York City, you got Philly. I understand that there's a lot of people here. But Trump has done rallies in the region before, but he's never gotten this many people to a single rally. Whether it's in the most Republican parts of America, or it was in a rally, north of Philly. It doesn't really matter. He's never had a crowd this large. The everyday American people are 100% behind him, said Dawn O'Neill, a 62-year-old nurse from Philly. And I actually think he's right. Like, this random guy in the crowd, I think it's 100% true. People are getting sick and tired of the Biden administration. Not only that, they're looking at the Trump cases and thinking to themselves, what the hell are we doing? He is the nominee for one of the 2 major parties, yet these partisan hacks are going after him in court and try to stop him from campaigning? We have never done this. Let alone we've never done this with an untested legal theory that no one has ever brought up because they're not insane like that. This case, especially in New York, they're trying to combine like 15 separate charges into one. They're trying to make a misdemeanor into a felony. It's a scam. And people got to understand that people look at this and they think to themselves, this isn't right. Now, I'm not saying that if Trump gets thrown in jail, it automatically helps him. No one should expect that for sure, but we're getting to a point now where a bunch of people are realizing that these cases are just bullshit. These cases should be thrown out and just be done with. No one should have to go through what Trump's going through. If this was any other citizen, the ACLU and other groups would 100% be involved with this case to try to get thrown out. They would be going to the media and saying, this is an unconstitutional case. This case should be thrown out. It hurts democracy, all of that. But because this is the Orange Man, it's somehow different. That's the biggest problem. People are realizing that this case is insane. If this was any other person, it would be thrown out. Trump has repeatedly accused the Biden administration and Democratic officials in New York of using the legal system to block his return to the White House. Prosecutors allege the former president broke the law to conceal an affair with a porn actor that would have hurt his first presidential bid. Now, I am not going to go into the case here because it's a very complicated ordeal, but there's been plenty of videos of people explaining what's happening in the case, what's the prosecution arguing, all of that. And 90% of them agree that this case is insane. This is a dangerous precedent. If somehow the prosecution wins this case, let's hope not because it would be bad for Trump, but it would also create a precedent where they could do this to anyone. Like, okay, we don't like a certain person, we're going to claim, 15 separate misdemeanors into one grand conspiracy and make it a felony. And on top of that, they're going to make sure the cases are in deep blue areas, so you can't get a fair jury, you get a crooked judge, and the prosecution doesn't give a shit. That's the problem here. Outside of, hey, this guy's just innocent, they're going to use the same theory to go after anyone they want. But thankfully for us, the prosecution is so incompetent that anytime they try to do anything in the courtroom, it seems like it backfires. Whether it's within the courtroom itself or politically, it backfires anytime they do anything. Because every time they do something, the case becomes even more ludicrous. Whether it's having Stormy Daniels on the stand make shit up and completely contradict what she said just 5 years ago. And not only that, but outside of the courtroom, politically speaking, this case is becoming not a problem for Trump, but funny enough for Biden. Because anyone that looks at this case, they realize quickly, this is insane. If this was anyone else, it would have been thrown out years ago. It wouldn't have even went to trial. But because this is Trump, they're going after him for an insane theory that no one actually believes in. So whether it's in the courtroom, whether it's politically, this case is backfiring. I really believe it. Like, why would Trump, despite everything they've thrown against him and everyone claiming this is the end of Trump, these cases will end him, despite that, he just had one of his largest rallies to date. Tell me, how is what's happening in court going to end Trump if he's having his biggest rallies as of now? When everyone said he was at his weakest point. Really? He's at his weakest point, but getting arguably his biggest rallies ever. We just got to see what happens. Hopefully Trump does win the case, and hopefully the prosecution continues screwing up so badly that it just benefits Trump. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.